The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to the Monday Morning Helpline Session with your host, James McDonald.
Well, thank you very much, Andrea, and I'd like to start by welcoming our participants to our helpline session here this morning. Craig will be joining us shortly. And remember, this is our open forum sort of free-for-all where we can discuss anything that you want. The agenda essentially is set by you. So if you have questions, if you have specific topics that you'd like us to talk about or anything like that, all you have to do is pipe up. You can either enter your question into the chat or if you've got a live working mic, you can do it that way as well. We'd love to interact with you like that. But here's what we find is that whatever is likely on your mind is likely on the minds of other students as well that are implementing the system. So there really are no stupid questions. Everything is really applicable to everybody as long as it obviously pertains to the system. So I would really encourage you, if it's in regards to lead generation, anything about the universal script perhaps, setting up any of the systems, anything like that at all, jump in and let us know what's on your mind, and I can assure you you're probably helping a lot of others with your questions as well. Now, last week we did some great webinars. We did our role play session, by the way, where we had some great new volunteers last Thursday, and we're going to do the same thing again this Thursday. And I would really encourage you, practice that universal script and then volunteer to do some role playing with Craig and I this coming Thursday. It's one of the best ways where you can sort of point out or point out the small details that might be making a big impact on the results you are or are not getting using that script. So in other words, practicing the universal script, doing it yourself, just making lots of these calls is going to make you really comfortable. It's going to make you good with the script. Here's the thing, though. You want to make sure that you're not just practicing, but what you're practicing is actually correct. So that's where the role play call comes in. If you volunteer one time and you go through the script that you've become quite comfortable with, and we're able to listen and point out, a couple of little things that you can do a little bit differently, that's going to make the biggest impact. And then you can go ahead and practice that. And what you'll find is that it's something that you'll constantly be working on. We talk about developing skills and your skill set in communication in terms of the lead conversion element of the system. And you're really always growing in that department. You're always getting better. You're always identifying little distinctions in that universal script. And that's why every Thursday for many, many years now, we have students who have been using the system for a decade that continue on a regular basis to participate in those role play sessions, just because it'll ensure that you're always honing your skills with it. So I would encourage you. Now, Friday, of course, is our ad clinic call, so I'll start harassing you today on Monday here to upload your ads. It's important that we have as many ads as possible. We had 24 ads this past Friday that we selected for the ad clinic file. Some excellent results, some really, really good efforts, really well done. And for some of you, it was the very first ad that you'd ever run, and you generated some really great response. What a positive way to move forward. Let's get to our questions. And remember, this is our helpline, which means it's a free-for-all. We can talk about anything you want. We don't have to just simply discuss lead generation. We can talk about any element of the system that would be helpful to you right now, as it would likely be helpful to others as well. So I will throw it over to Andrea, and we'll take chat questions. If you have a working mic, you can do it that way as well. Andrea, has Craig joined us yet?
No, he has not joined us on today's session.
Well, he will. Make sure you interrupt us and let us know as soon as Craig gets on here.
I will, and if you haven't done so already, you can submit your question either by the chat box, or if you have a working mic or you're on the telephone, clicking the hand icon you see at the top left-hand side of your control panel. Our first audio question today comes from Rich Zolotic. Your mic is open.
Hey, Rich.
Oh, hello. Hey, how you doing, Jim?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent, thanks. Hey, sorry, I'm just going to turn on my computer here. Okay, great. Hey, as far as HDX leads go, am I echoing there, by the way?
Yes.
I am. Okay, well, I guess, so what do I do here? Andrea?
That was better right there. That's better right there.
Yeah, it sounds like you're actually at your computer now.
I am actually.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so explain which leads you're referring to specifically.
So we have the HDX site.
Yes.
I'm going to turn this computer off. Sorry, hold on.
Uh-oh.
I think he turned himself off. Yes.
He wasn't bad. I could hear him just fine. I don't know what all the monkey was about.
Well, we're gonna we'll have to go on.
That's
Rich,
okay. We'll get Rich back.
Yeah, Rich, if you can hear us, maybe you've dialed in on your phone. If that's the case, you have to switch to telephone mode, because if you can turn your computer off, your VoIP also goes off. So we'll go on to Gary and Catherine Griffin. Your mic is now open.
Hello, Gary and Catherine.
Good morning.
Good morning, Gary.
Good morning. We have a target market. It's a 55-plus community, gated community of about 1,300 homes. Do you have any experience or suggestions for reaching these types of sellers?
If you look at demographics, what is the demographic that reads the local newspapers? Right? Yes. Yes, and it's not even close. Not even remotely close. It is the older demographic. Now, not only that, but you probably know, since you target the area, that very likely there is a community newspaper that goes into those areas. Here's the difference, though. What you need to hit on are headlines that would really speak to the typical situation of a seller in those neighborhoods. So in other words, one of the ones that we use is empty nesters. But the truth is that, it sounds like the community you're describing is maybe a little bit older than an empty nester.
Yeah, they'd already be empty. They'd already be past that.
They've probably been empty nesters for 20 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I wouldn't recommend the empty nesters, but what you need to do is you need to look at the typical reasons why the sellers in this community sell. What is the reason they're selling? Where are they going to? What is the typical circumstance? Because that's what you're going to design your headline based on, that scenario. Because you know that somebody flipping through the local newspaper, they're reading the articles, now they're going to come to a headline that basically calls out to their situation. How to avoid these mistakes when moving to a senior assisted living facility. Okay, now I'm just pulling this out of thin air. Given a little bit of time to really sit down and bullet point all the reasons and then come up with headlines, I bet you that in half an hour we could come up with half a dozen really strong headlines that would target this exact community and what would compel them to want this free special report. Here's something else that really works well with it, is that the way you get the information, the call to action is to pick up the phone and use the hotline, which, of course, you're dealing with an older community. They're far more comfortable with the idea of obtaining information by picking up the phone than they are with the idea of going online to a website.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now, I'm not saying there aren't other things that you can do. Certainly, if we hit on a message that really works well with an editorial ad in local publications, then I'm certain that some of that can be used in direct mail as well. And direct mail might be a really good way of targeting those communities with those same messages as another way of response. But I would definitely start with editorial ads in a local newspaper. Definitely focus on anything you do to specifically target this community. Make sure you're utilizing a hotline, either instead of or certainly more so than a web domain name. And then really your job is, I would just bullet point, what are the reasons why somebody is moving? What are the reasons why? And then we're going to design headlines that basically address those reasons and basically say things like, mistakes to avoid, or 7 tips you need to know before moving to senior assisted community, whatever it is. The headline is clearly going to grab them, because they're going to look at it and say, hey, that's me. That's exactly what's happening to us right now. that's the idea behind this. And I don't doubt for a second that you'll generate lots of leads. Hey, by the way, one other thing that I want to suggest. We have in our Platinum coaching program, so these are students of our system that have been doing this for the most part, 5-10 years, and have really reached that high level with the system. But their names are Tim and Rosangela Johnson. And Tim and Rosangela Johnson are in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So you can imagine how many different communities there are, just like the one that you're describing now. Mm-hmm. And they have actually developed their own system for working with these communities. And it revolves around, they get into the community and they do seminars. They do a seminar.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that.
Well, here's what I would suggest. Don't reinvent the wheel. They've invented a way not only to get into the communities, but then what they're offering in their presentation. And it is, just a steady flow of listings, never ending, because there's an unlimited number of these communities, and people are always coming into and out of these communities. So here's what I'd recommend. I want you to call your coach or email your coach and get the contact information for Tim and Rosangela Johnson, and they're the most wonderful people you'll ever hope to meet, and I'm certain that they will share with you some great information that you can take and copy yourself.
Okay, thanks a lot, James.
You're very welcome, Gary.
Our next guest is Marcelina Martel. Your mic is now open. You'll have to unmute on your end. Okay. We'll go on. Oh, sorry about that. Go ahead, Marcelina.
Hello. All right.
Okay.
Hey, we're trying. We're really trying here.
Mary and Charles Vargo, your mic is now open.
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. How are you, Mary?
I am wonderful. James, I'm a little confused with the follow-up with the lead gen. There are different seminars that I've heard that some people will say when you're calling a lead and no one answers, some have said leave a message. For instance, if it's Commissions Inc. Contact, leave a message so that they know that you were very timely and responding. And then with other times, some of the people say, don't leave any message, just keep calling back. So that's one question. What do you say?
Okay, so here's what you're going to find. Andrea, is there any way we can mute the mic just because I'm getting feedback here?
Hold on a second.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, that's a great question. We're going to base this on experience. And when you base it on experience, what you find is this. There is no message that we have conceived that causes prospects to pick up the phone and call you back. As a matter of fact, what we found over thousands and thousands of phone calls to prospects is that more prospects called you back when you didn't leave a message than when you did. In other words, I call you from my local telephone number and I do not leave a message. The likeliness is you're more likely to call me back because that number showed up on your phone and you're curious than if I left a message saying, hi, I'm James McDonald with Craig Proctor. I'm just following up with you in regards to your request for information. The number of callbacks from that message were fewer than the number of callbacks from not leaving a message. But here's the real reason why we don't recommend leaving a message, at least not in the very beginning, is that what you tend to think is this. Once you've left a message, the mindset is, okay, the ball's in their court. I've left them a message. If they're interested, I guess they'll call back. And the truth is, that's not how this works. You've got to be diligent and consistent and really dogged in your attempts to reach these prospects. And here's the differences. And you'll see this yourself when you test this. If I call back a lead and I leave a message, hi, it's James calling with Craig Proctor's office. Received your request for information. Just wanted to let you know I'm following up with you, or I'm acknowledging that you requested that information. If you have any questions, call me. Okay. Now, I know you're not going to call, but now I keep following up with you. And maybe later that day I call you again and it goes to voicemail and I don't leave a message. And then maybe I try the next day And later on the next evening, I call you, and lo and behold, you've answered the phone. Okay, now here's the thing. What I've done by leaving that message, the prospect will likely receive that message, is I've kind of positioned myself in a way where I've already called and acknowledged that I've sent the information or that I received their request for information, etc. And now I'm calling them back again, 24, 48 hours later after that. It's kind of positioning me as a little bit of a badgering salesperson. Okay, now here's the difference. If we call them and they're not available, they don't answer the phone. Okay, they don't answer the phone, and now boom, they finally pick up the phone. At least when they're picking up the phone now, it's our very first contact with them. And what you'll find is our positioning with them is improved. We're speaking to them this is our very first branded contact with that prospect. Now, having said that, let's say you tried following up with a lead and you've tried them 4 or 5 times over the course of many days. The truth is this, the new leads you generate take priority over these older leads that you've already tried to reach 4, 5, 6, 7 times. In that circumstance, you might as well leave a message because you're probably not going to be able to have the time to continuously follow up with the same prospect for weeks and months. So we're not going to leave a message the very first time we call a prospect back. We're going to follow up with them, because when they do finally answer the phone, you're going to have a much better conversation with them if you hadn't left a message previously. And that's based on positioning. But let's say that, time has elapsed. You've attempted them on numerous occasions, and now you're starting to get bogged down with new leads. Well, now would be the time when it would be more appropriate for you to leave a message. The question is, what is your message going to say that is going to cause the prospect to call you back? And in our experience, leaving all kinds of different messages, it's very, very difficult and unlikely that they're going to do that. Do not have the impression that instead of diligently following up with a lead, you can simply leave a voicemail and your phone will ring off the hook with callbacks. You'll be disappointed if you think that will be the result. Don't do that. However, you know what?
Well, James, that's what everyone wants to believe, right? What they want to believe is,
sure.
Now that I've generated the lead, that the fish are going to jump in the boat. Now that the buyer has raised their hand, they've identified themselves, and I've sent them out the information in good faith. So, of course, when they're ready to buy or sell, they're just going to contact me. Absolutely incorrect. They're not contacting you. They're asking for information. There's a difference, right? They're asking for information in regards to buying or selling, whether it be a list of properties or a free report. And you must speak to them. This cannot be done by email. That's another misconception, James, is, I'll just email them or I'll just leave them a message. No. We need their phone number. Why? So we can talk to them. Why do we need to talk to them? So we can use the universal callback script to determine their motivation and timing. So we've seen far too many members think, well, I'll just send out an email and, I'll do it that way, or I'll leave them a message and they'll call. Leaving a message, that's the Hail Mary at the end of it. I mean, if you've tried them for several days, you've tried them maybe for a week at all different times of the day, and you've tried all the different techniques that we share with you, and there are techniques proven techniques to best get a hold of these people. If you tried all that, at the end of it, sure, leave a message, you got nothing to lose. But there's even specific things you can say in that message to cause people to call you back, and even those things don't work very well.
Right. Well, I don't know if you were on earlier, Craig, but one of the things that I talked about is it was remarkable that we found that very often more prospects called you back not leaving a message than leaving a message. Curiosity killed the cat. It's like, who is this number, this local telephone number that's showing up on my phone? I wonder who this is. I'll call them back. So if as many prospects call you back or more doing that than responding to your message, well, which is less time-consuming for you? See, here's something else, Craig, as well, that our member mentioned, is that some of the advice that she received to leave a message came from some of the lead-generating companies, like I think it was Commissions Inc. that was mentioned, or one of the other lead generation.
Bold lead, smart zip, whatever.
Lead.
Yep.
Right. Here's the problem, though. The reason that you're involved in the coaching program is because, Craig actually made these calls. I guarantee you that, none of these companies, they don't have real estate licenses. They don't actually, they're great at generating leads. Now leave the lead conversion part up to the experts that actually convert leads.
Well, that's why these companies come to us. They're coming to us now because they want us to teach their members, their realtors, what to do with the leads. That's the problem. That's why, James, you and I are always saying it's the Achilles heel for most realtors. They generate leads, but they just don't know what to do with the leads. They're not very good at them, at what happens with the leads, and then they just end up saying, well, the leads are no good. And these companies, whether it be Zillow or SmartZip or Bold Leads or Commissions Inc. or whoever, that's the biggest complaint they hear from realtors that buy their leads is the realtor says, well, the leads are no good. Well, when we follow up with the leads, many of these sellers list with someone else. Many of the buyers buy with another realtor. So how is it that the leads are no good? Okay, this is important.
Right. Yeah, all leads appear to be less motivated than they actually are if you don't do and say the right things when following up with them. But let me also address this concern. One of the reasons that our members cited that they want you to leave a message is so the prospect knows that you got to them, that you didn't ignore them, that you were the first, that you were there for them. What I would suggest, though, is that you're also sending them the information that they requested. And when you send them information that they requested, it's branded. All right? You're branding any info, even if the information that they requested was via a non-branded, for example, they responded to an editorial ad or online to your unbranded website. It doesn't matter. When you send the information, you're going to brand that the information came from you. And I assure you, they're a lot more interested in the information than the salesperson. So, you are getting the best of both worlds. All right,
why don't we go to some of the chat questions here? I don't know if you've done that, James. Andrea,
no, we have not.
Okay, Andrea, maybe you can pick a few of those.
Okay, we'll go with our first from John. It says, what if my budget doesn't allow the financial outlay needed to provide the guarantee in certificates?
Well, then don't do it. I mean, we're not saying you start with the guarantee. We're saying that's something that you probably want to do, but look, if you don't have a lot of money, start with the least expensive things we teach you to do, like small classified ads.
Craig, what I would also recommend is that the guaranteed sale program is an example of a performance guarantee, but it is not the only performance guarantee. Watch this. You could say, your home sold or I'll buy it, or you could say, your home sold or I'll sell it for free. Both are performance guarantees. One you can do. The other one, maybe you'll have to wait. But they're both very powerful in the eyes of the consumer. You're clearly setting yourself apart by presenting a tremendous advantage that your competitors don't. So,
and why start with sell it for free? Why give up all of your commission?
Yeah,
I wouldn't do that to begin with. I would start with, your home sold in X amount of time, or I'll pay you $1,000 cash, or your home sold for 100% of the list price, or I'll pay you the difference, the maximum being your full commission. So as James has mentioned, there's many, many different performance guarantees that you can begin with that you don't need any money to offer. It's simply a reduction of your fee. Now, the idea here is to set rules, targets that you can hit. We don't want to reduce our commission, right? So if my guarantee is your home sold in X amount of days, or I'll pay you $1,000 cash on closing, and I know that if you listen to me on price, that's the condition, right? You have to take my price. I know that house is going to sell within 60 days or 30 days or whatever time frame. So, this whole idea that you need a lot of money to do this program is absolutely false. In fact, we constantly run testimonials, rags to riches stories from members that have really struggled financially, get involved with the program. They have very little money. Some of them have very little experience. Some of them are veterans and have struggled for many, many years. So these are conversations you should be having with your one-on-one coach, because what you're saying, your belief system is, well, I can't do these things. And the reality is you can.
Great question.
Our next question's from Marcelina. She's been running the editorial evaluation postcard, the Everydoor Direct evaluation postcard to the same prospects, very targeted area. They would get anywhere between 5 and 10 responses, but the last few months, the responses are dropping. They have not changed anything. Is it time for them to run a new postcard with a new message or a new audience?
Well, if it continually is not working, it's time to change it up, I guess. That's odd, though, that it would work and work and work and then not work. So I guess I'm not sure how long it's not been working. I would certainly run it a couple times. If it continues not to work, then you've either got to change the message or change your target market. Every once in a while, I would have a week where it didn't work so well, but that was unusual. You know, in most cases, what you're going to get is if you're sending the same amount of postcards to the same people with the same message, you're going to get the same predictable response. That's what's great about this, is it does build in predictability. That's what we all want, right? We want to know every week how many leads we're going to generate. We want to know how many appointments we're going to get. We want to know how much money we're going to make. We must have predictability in our business. All right, what's next?
Okay, our next question from Greg says, can you give me an idea of what your process is when using Wise Agent?
Well, I've never used Wise Agent. I used Agent Office, and I'm not sure what you mean by process. You want to make sure that your leads are entered right away, and you're going to put them on some type of activity plan, whether you're going to manually book your next phone call with them, or you know, if you have a newsletter, that should happen. That should be a plan. If you're using the gold plan, that plan should be activated, and we'll talk more about that on some of our upcoming calls. But James, anything you want to add about how to use a contact management system?
Well, I would say this, is that a lot of the contact management systems have lots of bells and whistles, lots of features. That doesn't mean that if you're not utilizing the features, you may as well not use the contact management system. I would treat it in the beginning very basically. What I mean by that is, it is a database for all of your leads and a day timer, so that those leads go onto the day timer to make sure that they're being followed up with appropriately, and that no one's falling through the cracks. But if you just look at it that way, it's a day timer and a database. And all that happens is the leads that are in the database go onto the day timer at some point. They're always on your day timer. So they're either on your day timer immediately because you need to call them now, or you've already spoken with them and they're on your day timer 6 months from now because you've set a callback. They said they're moving in 12 months. You cut it in half, and now you're going to follow up with them in 6 months. So boom, that lead is on your. But if you just keep it really simple like that, it's a calendar, a day timer calendar, and a database. That's all it is. Now, are there other features? Dozens of other features. But start with the basic, and then you can start to explore and add and implement some of these other features as you go on.
Okay, so James, let's say that I follow up with you, and you tell me that you're going to be listing your home in 6 months. So here's what I'm typing into my CRM. Spoke to James today. Says he's bought new construction. He's going to be listing his home in 6 months. Call back in 90 days, right? Call back in half the time. Send Market Watch newsletter. Okay, I go down. I click on the button to send. So my assistant, it's tagged for Market Watch newsletter, and now I set my call back. I advance this, just pull that lead up 90 days, and now I call. Let's say 90 days goes by. I'm calling James again. Hey, James. Craig Proctor here with ABC Realty. I talked to you 3 months ago. I was the guy that sent you out the area home sales report. You said you bought new construction, and I just wanted to follow up and see if anything changed, or what was going on with your timing, and go right through the script again. Yep. Okay, now, very brief. like the notes have to be very brief because I want to make dozens of phone calls every hour, not a dozen phone calls in a day. I'm on and off the phone with James in 3 minutes. Now remember, I'm typing this as I'm speaking to him. So when I hang up the phone, I've closed his file and I open the next file and I'm calling the next guy. And as I'm talking to that guy, I'm typing in the notes, setting the callback date, tagging them for Market Watch or the Goal Plan, creating any activity plans. Okay, the activity plans are there, right? You just have to click on them and activate them. So it's open a contact card, make the call, add the notes while you're talking to the guy, schedule your call back, close the contact card, open the next contact card, call the next guy, type the notes in, activate any plans, close it down over and over and over again. Every 3 or 4 minutes, you should be able to talk to somebody. And this is a problem many of our members have, is they spend way too much time talking to people and typing in notes, and they don't get to enough prospects. It's a numbers game. Remember, you're not going to make people motivated. They either are or they're not. Okay, the script is not designed to create motivation where motivation doesn't exist. The universal callback script is simply designed to help you identify whether they are or they're not. And if they're not, the appropriate answer is thanks and have a nice day. And if they are, you're either going to book an appointment now or you're going to set a callback date in the future. Let's see who's next, Andrea.
Our next question is from Karen. She says, I came across a seller who requested a seller report, and when I spoke to her, she told me that she was under contract and happy with the agent. Do I still offer the newsletter, or what do I do?
Well, you might want to say to them that, I don't know how it works in your area, but in our area, we're not really supposed to be mailing anything or sending anything to somebody that we knowingly is already listed with somebody else. So I would say that. I would say, look, it's not that I don't want to mail my newsletter to you, but now that you've identified the fact that you are listed with another realtor, our real estate board regulations state that I can't do that. So you want to, let them know you want to, but you're not allowed to.
Our next question comes from Suzanne. She's spending $600 a month with bold leads and finding that more than 50% are completely bad leads with bad phone numbers or no addresses. She says, I'm not really getting anything that is workable now or in the near future. How long should she go with this before canceling?
Well, I have zero experience with bold leads, never used it, although I've heard a lot of good things about it. I would talk to your one-on-one coach about that, maybe talk to the people at Bold Leads. But, yeah, certainly if you're not turning those leads into something, we've got to figure out either how to make that happen.
I think what's really important is that you differentiate between a bad lead and a bad lead. In other words, if you are saying, and it sounds like you are, that a bad lead means that you're not getting sufficient contact information, I agree with you, that's a bad lead. If you cannot pick up the phone and call the lead, that's a bad lead. No phone number, no address, no ability to call the lead back, then that's not helpful. The greatest salesperson on earth isn't going to be able to convert a lead that they're unable to reach. However, if by bad lead we mean, oh, I call back the leads and they don't seem to be very good, that's a different story. By the action that the prospect took, we know there's a level of motivation with the prospect. That we can fix. But if what you mean by a bad lead is no contact information, then that's something that you definitely want to take up with Bold Leads and with your coach as well. That make sense?
Yeah, even James McDonald couldn't convert those.
There you go. Well, let's not go crazy.
Okay, we'll go back.
That's not who you were talking about? The greatest salesperson in the world?
I hear you.
All right, what's next, Andrea?
Well, Rich, I believe, was able to reconnect. So, Rich Zalotic, your mic is now open.
Hello, Rich.
Hello, yep.
You're back.
What's on your mind, Rich?
Rich disconnected again and changed to phone. Rich, we can hear you talking through your computer, but we'll have to go back to you. Okay, we'll go to our next chat question from Alan. It says, on the Sunday tour of homes, do I have to take a larger ad out with pictures? If I am touring other people's homes, do I put pictures and descriptions as if they were my listings?
Well, I don't think you can do that unless you have permission from them.
Which you
and
likely would.
that would be awkward if those homes are not listed with your brokerage. Okay, so here's one thing that I did when I didn't have a lot of money and I wanted to promote my tour. Rather than running a full-page ad, I ran an ad that said, view 6 homes on Craig Proctor's Sunday Tour of Homes. For details, visit. And they go to my website. Or, for details, call free recorded message. And they call into your hotline. Okay, the website probably works the best. Okay, visit craigproctorsundaytour.com, and they go there. Now, once you get them to your landing page, you can have big, full-color pictures of all the homes, virtual tours, explain how the whole deal works. But a small classified ad could drive people there. Okay, view the 6 best homes in the city on Craig Proctor's Sunday Tour of Homes. Details at www.sundaytour.com, whatever. Anything you want to add there, James, Matt?
Well, I was going to say ultimately your preference would be, let's start from the best case scenario. Best case scenario is they're your listings. That would be the best case scenario. So a smaller tour but featuring all of your listings, that's number one best case scenario. The second best case scenario is you're borrowing listings for the tour from your office. That way you can feature the photographs of the properties. See, we got to be realistic about this. If a prospect's going to show up at an open house, let's face it, they're more likely to show up if the photograph of the property is appealing to them. So you're the reason you're doing this is to generate leads. What's a lead? A lead is somebody that shows up to the property on your tour. So if a photograph of the property is going to increase the likeliness, well, then that's obviously what we would prefer to do. So we're talking about preference. So number one preference, we use our own listing. Number two preference is if you borrow listings from within your office is definitely better because, as Craig says, it certainly makes advertising the property more doable because they are listed at your company's under your company's umbrella. And then the third case scenario, as Craig's describing, is we're really focusing on the benefits of the tour as opposed to the specific properties on the tour. That would be the next case scenario. But you know what? It's a test, so you can experiment pretty easily to determine the results that you get.
Okay, Ray is asking, does Success Website have an actual pay-per-click AdWords department? Sounds like, Ray, you're getting the runaround there. Look, Ray, the person you want to speak to over there is Christy Filion.
Yep.
And, Andrew, maybe you can type that in so everybody can see how to spell Christy's name. You know how to spell it, right? Christy with a K?
Yes, I believe so.
Filion with an F? Christy Filion. She's the best of the best. Really like Christy. She's going to be on the helpline call actually for Steve. Is that next week?
Yes, next Monday, a week from today.
Okay, so next Monday, Christy Filion is going to be on our helpline call to answer all of your internet-related questions. Well, as they pertain to Success Website. She's probably not going to help you with bullet leads or any of their competitors, but any of your Success Website questions, you can speak directly to Christy Filion a week today on our helpline. All right, so let's see what's next here. Let's encourage you to raise your hands too, and we'll take some audio questions. Be nice to talk to you guys. Robert Graff. Robert says, I'm new to the program, and I started at Google pay-per-click campaign 6 days ago. The ad was for a distressed sale foreclosure list. I've generated 79 clicks, but no one leaving their info on the Success website. Well, that's not too good. Robert wants to know, is this normal? Okay, Robert, so what we should do is we should look at your landing page to make sure that the landing page is correct, because we can't really say that the Google ad's not doing its job because it's driven 79 people to your landing page. So 79 people buyers, prospects, have found their way to your landing page, and 0 of them have left their contact information. So it sounds like we need to do some work on your landing page. I would check that out, and that would be a good thing to have your coach look at, or send us your ads, and we'll look at your landing page on Friday's ad clinic webinar. All right, Andrea, I'm not sure where we are with the questions here. Do we have any audio, or do you want to take some more chat?
Well, let's go ahead and take, we only have a couple of audio, so we'll finish those. And it's Emil Marcus Covain. Your mic is now open.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Craig. I have a question. I'm new with the program. I've been to the conference in Anaheim. Before that, I had a prospect. It's a couple that they own a condo, they want to sell it and buy a house. I think based on what I know right now, I started on the left foot. All this relation. I tried to get an appointment with them to see to lease their house, because they need to sell first and then buy. I didn't get that. I was trying to stay in contact with them. They told me not to call them anymore because they are still thinking if they will do it or not. I send them emails with some information. Then he called me and he told me, okay, we are seeing that you are sending emails, but we cannot read them. Okay, I said, no problem. And then I tried to get another appointment with them. Unsuccessful, but I get some information about what they are looking in their house that they want to buy.
Okay. I get the picture. Okay. So, look, how did they come to you in the first place? Or did you come to them?
No, they come to me.
Are they chasing you, or are you chasing them?
No, I am an insurance agent, and they are my clients with an insurance. And we know for a while being in this relation. And I was talking with them and told them
so you have a relationship with them because of your insurance business, correct?
Yes.
Okay, but why would they tell you when you asked, can I follow up? Why would they say, no way, go away?
No, they told me that they are not ready yet, and they are
so
still
they didn't
thinking.
say no to you, but I thought
No.
you said they said don't call us anymore.
No, they told us, they told me that for the moment they are still thinking, they are not ready, and when they will be, they will call me, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so what exactly is the question?
My question is how to approach them right now, because right now I send them new houses, new listings that are on the market. I set up the MLS to give me the information based on...
Okay, but you're sending the listings first. What you need to do is you need to set an appointment and get them signed to a buyer agency agreement.
I know, but I tried a few times already, and it was unsuccessful.
Okay, well, you've got your answer then. Because what are you going to do now? You're going to email them a bunch of homes, and you're saying they keep blowing you off, right? You keep emailing them properties. Mm-hmm. And then what's next? They're going to want to look at some properties maybe, and you're going to run out and you're going to start showing them homes. But you have no commitment. You have no commitment from them, right?
Yeah.
So
what's your advice? What shall I do?
Okay, look, if they're accepting emails from you, and the guy calls you back and says, we can't see your emails. So why don't you say, why don't we get together? I'll bring a list with me, and we can go over everything then.
I told him that.
All right, and what did he say?
Yeah, we're very busy, all kinds of excuses.
Yeah. And you say, well, this is perfect for busy people like you. If we can spend 15 minutes to get together, I can take down exactly what you're looking for. That way I'll make sure you're only getting the homes that are a perfect match. Mm-hmm. And then he'll come up with another excuse, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got your answer, right? It's back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not going to convert all the leads. That's not the job of the script.
Mm-hmm.
The job of the script is to identify who's going to be a loyal person and who's going to jerk you around.
Yeah.
So which category do you think this person falls into?
The second one.
Well, you've got your answer.
Yeah.
So move on. That's why we need to generate lots of leads.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Greg.
All right, thank you. All right, let's go back to Andrew. We'll take another audio question, please.
Yes, sir. And we have Evelyn Rose Velisco. Your mic is now open.
Yes, can you hear me?
Hello, Evelyn.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Where are you located, Evelyn?
I'm in Roseville, but I just got engaged to be married yesterday, and I'm going to be moving to Houston, Texas.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very excited about it. So I'll be switching markets come our wedding day. But for now, I'm in Roseville, which is right outside of Sacramento. Yeah. But my question is that I was working with a buyer. Basically, I went on a buy appointment, and I did the presentation. But at the presentation, they let me know that they had an agent that was emailing them, and I went through with, what I remember from your training about how just let them know that, well, I don't know what your agent's sending, but my list has foreclosures and auction homes and distressed properties, and I plan to proceed. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they bought it, and they went for it, and they signed a buyer-broker agreement. But then when I sent them the list, it doesn't have anything different than what their other agent was sending, and so they were very disappointed.
Yet.
Okay.
But if there are bank foreclosures or distress sales or homes that have recently been reduced, they will be on your list, right?
Yeah. So basically, what I'm hearing from you is that I can address it that way with them.
They signed the buyer agency agreement with you, correct?
Right.
Okay. So here's what you can do to make them happy. Could you find some homes, perhaps, that are not on MLS to send them, that the other agent's not going to send them?
I don't know of any, but I could try and find some.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you belong to an office that lists houses?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What if you sent them some homes that your office listed, that aren't even on MLS yet?
Yes, I could do that.
Right. You could send them those and say, look, this is the benefit. I'm getting you priority access. I think the buyers, they understand that good deals go very quickly. So if you can email them inner office listings before the other realtor is sending them information, then you can say, see?
Gotcha.
Now,
okay,
since they're signed to a buyer agency agreement with you, you might want to suggest that they ask the other realtors to stop sending them information, or you ask who that realtor is, and you email or contact that realtor and say, could you stop emailing my client?
Yeah,
this is my
that's
buyer.
good.
They've signed an exclusive buyer agency agreement with me. I understand that you're emailing them listings. Could you please stop that before I take you to the real estate board?
Okay, that's good. Yeah, because I think the client was testing me to see if I was really going to give them more than the other person. Yeah.
Right,
okay.
and you want to pass the test now. You could send them you could send them listings of in-office listings. You could also send them any homes that have been reduced in price within your office.
Oh, before the price reduction
before they go on MLS,
to take
right?
place.
Right.
Good,
Like
good one.
you hang out. Yeah, when you go to lunch with your buddies at the office, when they list something or reduce something that would match your buyer's criteria, you send them and say, I just want to let you know that this house has just been reduced $20,000. It's not on MLS yet. I wanted you to be the first one to know about it.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you. That really helps a lot.
All right. Congratulations, Evelyn.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see who's next.
Okay, Rich would like to try one more time, so we're going to do that.
All right, Rich.
Rich Zolotic, your line is now open. Go ahead and talk to us.
Can you hear me?
Rich, you did it.
Oh, really? You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, great.
perfectly.
Oh, Okay. I'm standing here yelling at my computer, but anyway. Hey, thanks, guys. So a quick question in regards to referrals. And so I'm putting out a paper newsletter now, like Craig, like your Market Watch. And is there a good way to sort of speak to referral sources? And when I say that, I mean somebody that isn't buying or selling, just somebody that is a good referral source. How do I pitch them the newsletter? Like just to as a way of communicating and keeping sort of top of mind for them if they come across somebody that's buying or selling. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so hang on. Is this a past client?
No, this is just somebody, for example, actually I spoke to a banker, and he's not buying or selling, but obviously he's dealing with a lot of people that are, and so I'd like to, I guess, keep in touch with him, and the newsletter seemed like a good way to do so, and I just thought, well, can you sort of give me an idea how I can, I guess, speak to him about it? Like, I mean, why would he be interested in newsletters if he's not buying or selling, but I want to keep him top of mind for him.
Well, you don't know if he is. You've got to ask him.
Yeah.
You call the guy up and you ask him if he's interested in getting, being plugged into what's happening in the real estate market, and would he like to receive your monthly newsletter? And he's either going to say yes or no.
Right. Okay. All right. So there's not really a way just for somebody to strictly be a referral source sort of from that perspective, right? It's either they're a buyer or seller and they'll refer me or not. Is that right?
Well, no, you can ask for referrals and you can ask if it's okay to send the monthly newsletter to them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Have you had conversations with this bank manager, this lender?
We just chatted, and like I said, well, yeah, I mean, sort of. I was just trying to. He said that he would, but I knew he'd forget if I didn't stay in touch. So hence.
Okay, so when you're in the future when you're having those conversations, you're the bank manager, and I say, by the way, Rich, would it be okay if I sent you my monthly newsletter to keep you in touch with what's going on with the real estate market? It'll also keep me top of mind as well, because you've indicated you'd be open to sending me referrals. So every month I'll send you my newsletter. It'll keep my face in front of you. It'll also give you, it shows you exactly what I would be sending to any prospects that you'd refer to me.
Okay. Great. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, no, I appreciate that. Thanks. I was just kind of looking for some verbiage there. Let me see. I know I've got another question for you here real quick. I just got to look it up. Craig, here's another one. You know, when you're speaking with somebody, you're trying to qualify them. They mention that they are working with another realtor. You ask if they're committed, but for some reason, you know how sometimes people are rushed on the phone and you can't really get a definite answer. So they're buying. You've determined that. They do have a realtor, but you don't know if they're committed or not. You want to set up an appointment. You can set up an appointment with them, so they're basically open to it. But what happens is I don't want to waste my time. I haven't got the right answer from them. Is there a way to sort of mention that there actually is, that they would be signing something, or that there would be, some obligation if you did come over, because you don't want to waste your time? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I don't tell them I don't indicate anything about signing anything until they get there.
I know, but in this case, I haven't been able to determine if they're committed or not, because they haven't actually answered my question directly. I have asked, and they said, well, we got somebody helping us out, but for some reason, it's happened to me a few times.
Have you signed anything with them, with that realtor?
Oh, okay.
They won't answer that question?
Okay. Because I know that's not something that we normally ask, but okay, great.
Well, I would say you don't go there first. You say this, Rich.
Right.
Are you 100% committed to that realtor? If they say yes, then I say, well, have you signed something with them? If they say yes, I say, have a nice day. If they say no, I say, well, would you be open to meeting with me? There's a tremendous difference between realtors and what they do and how much they charge to get the job done. Would you be open to meeting with me as well?
Okay.
Now, sometimes I say, well, gee, Craig, when we meet with you, do we have to sign something? The answer is no. They don't have to sign something when they meet with me.
Right.
Nor do I have to continue working with them. If they want me to represent them, the only way I can represent them is if they sign a buyer agency agreement or a listing agreement.
Okay, so I guess if they are freaked out about signing something, well, I guess you'll just have to determine that after you've shown them.
That's not the job of the phone call. That's the job of the meeting. The job of the presentation is to convince them on signing either the listing agreement or the buyer agreement.
Okay.
You can't have that conversation over the phone.
Okay.
They may ask you, well, when we meet with you, Rich, do we have to sign something? And the answer is no. They don't have to.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. I totally got it. Thanks very much. I was just overcomplicating things or overthinking them.
Yeah, keep it simple.
Appreciate it. Okay, that's great. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you. Hey, James, I
Yes,
got to run off here, but I'll let you continue.
Yeah, let's take a few more of our questions, Andrea, if we've got a few more in the chat.
We do. Well, this question is from Evelyn. It's regarding our follow-up script. She said, part of the script in handling objections, she says, I don't know what your agent's sending list includes, but mine includes foreclosure, distress sale property, so on. She said, but when she sends them, the list is exactly what the other agents are getting. How can she address this? She feels like she's not being truthful.
Well, this must be this must be the student that Craig just finished speaking to. But remember, what you're saying is, my list will also include any bank foreclosures, company-owned, or distress sale properties that come on the market that match what you're looking for. So, should a bank foreclosure, company-owned property, or distress sale, should one of those properties come on the market, you'll get it. So, if the very first list you send doesn't include any of those properties, it doesn't mean it never will. It means should a bank foreclosure, distress sale, come on the market, you'll be getting it. So, I don't think, your list is thorough. And the whole idea is that the only reason you should be sending them these properties is because they met with you and hired you by signing a buyer agency agreement. And if they did that, it means that the reason they hired you isn't only because of the thorough list that you're sending them, but it's also because of your presentation and the services that you offered in your presentation clearly showed that you are the superior choice and that they want you representing them. Now, if that's the case and you're sending them properties and they've hired you by signing an exclusive buyer agency agreement, it means that no other agent should be sending them properties. And you should make sure that they aren't, especially if they're duplicate. Well, regardless of whether they're duplicate or not. They're not saying that their list includes anything yours doesn't. What you're saying is, not only am I including all the properties that the other agent's sending, but in addition, any bank foreclosures, company-owned, distress sale properties, as long as it matches what you're looking for, if one of those properties comes on the market, you're going to have access to that immediately. I don't know what the other agent's sending you. I do know this. That other agent is no longer going to be sending you properties because you're my client. So hope that helps along with what Craig discussed.
Okay, our next question. When we're sending the reports to our clients, do we send them with a cover letter with our company information on them or not?
Yes, it's branded. Okay, so the free special report itself, is an industry report. That's how we talk about these industry reports. Okay, but when you're sending them the report, it's branded. It's coming from you. So, your email, say, attached is the free special report that you requested. Attached is the list of properties that you had requested from my website. If you have any further information or any further needs or want additional information, whatever it is. Okay, so in other words, from the moment the prospect requests the information, everything we do from that point forward is branded. Everything is branded. Once we generate the lead, branded. Everything branded no matter what. What we send them, branded. When we call them, branded. Everything branded from that point on. So the answer is yes, yes, and yes.
Okay, our next question. On the callback script, when a buyer says more than 6 months, do we skip to the rest of the script where it says refer to the offer and go there, or does it mean we have to finish the questions and then go to the offer?
Yeah, you're always going to finish the questions because prospects will always, at the beginning, not always, but very often, they will make themselves appear less motivated than they actually are. Remember this, you're a salesperson calling them, okay? So if you're a salesperson calling them, they're going to basically say, no, thank you, just looking. Oh, you know what, I'm a year away. I'm 6 months away. Yeah, we're not going to be doing anything for at least 6 months. And now, the idea is this. When you probe a little bit with unintrusive probing questions, what you often find is that their timing isn't 6 months. It's far more close to now than they originally told you. In other words, if we were to ask some questions like, oh, are you planning on staying in the area or moving out of the area? And they say, well, we'd like to stay in the area. We're just looking for something bigger. All right. The word was you're looking. So you're actively looking right now. Would you prefer to look for something before you put your present home up for sale? Sounds like you're doing some looking now. Yeah, well, we prefer to look around and see if we can find something suitable. But by the time we pull the trigger, we're probably looking at, as we say, maybe 6 months. Well, if the perfect home did come available, absolutely the perfect opportunity, would you consider moving on it? Would you consider doing something? Well, maybe not. What if the perfect home came available in the nearer future, nearer than 6 months? Might it be something you'd consider? Now all of a sudden you start to get different answers, So, and that's the idea of asking these probing questions, is you very often get a more accurate answer the more questions you ask, provided the questions you're asking aren't intrusive. So that's a great question for our Thursday role play session, by the way. Thank you for that.
Okay, our next question. What if our client doesn't have an email? They're old school and that they just don't use it. Do I start showing them homes or mail the listings right away?
You mail. Yeah, you mail. It's going to take a couple days, so that's not the big end of the world. I mean, that's how we used to do it for many, many years. So, yeah, it means mail. And you're going to pick up the phone and call them and make sure they're getting the properties and make sure that the properties you're sending match what they're looking for.
Okay, Crystal asks a question. We are working in an area with home prices 1 to 2 million. How can I get names and phone numbers of members that can help us with this kind of market?
Okay, one more time, Andrea. I'm sorry.
Okay. Crystal is working in a market where the prices are in the millions, and she'd like some advice from some of our other members that are in those kind of high-end markets. Where would she be able to get in contact with them?
Your coach. I would suggest that you ask your coach, and now what your coach is going to do is either they'll know some of these some of our students that work in the high-end markets around the country, and we'll also be able to look in the database and get you some suitable students to talk to as well. But it's all going to go, I would suggest, through your coach would be the best way to get the ball rolling on that. And, I would say this. There is no question that there is very specific marketing that we can do that really appeals to the super high-end, over $1 million plus segments of the market. There's no question there are things that you can do unique to that market. Having said that, though, what you'll also find is much of what is effective in any price range is also effective in the high-end price range. In other words, for example, sellers want to know the value of their home. And what we have found is they want to know the value of their home regardless of whether their home is $150,000 or $5 million. Sellers want to know the value of their home. Now, what might change is the forum where they come to that information, or the look of the website or the look of the message. Is it exclusive to their high end? But as far as the information that's being offered, really doesn't change. Same is true with, we talked about editorial ads a couple times here this morning. That is true with editorial style ads as well. Is number one, we can target publications, not real estate magazines, but publications that go out to a more affluent demographic. And then we can run an editorial in there that talks about, the mistakes in regards to, listing for sale, high-end property, tax implication, what's the word I'm looking for? Implications. There are definitely mediums that target these communities as well as messages, and that's what we're really looking to hit on. But again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have plenty of students that are in these different areas that do this, so you want to talk to your coach and make sure they set you up.
Okay, hold on one moment. We have a lot of questions asking, what are your thoughts on running in a specific paper or running ads that we have already, we've shown specifically? And I'm not quite sure if you'd be able to answer those, James, as it would be a test on where these ads would go. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously everything is a test, and you know, the idea is that, you know, you want to look at all of the opportunities that you have to advertise, and then look at them and consider what would be the best ad to run in a given publication. In other words, and when I say ad, I mean, you know, is it an editorial? Is it a classified ad? Are we going to try to run a remnant space ad? Are we going to run a display ad, a property ad? You know, promoting our USP. What ad are we going to run in this publication? And we look at the publication and determine its suitability for what kind of ad. And you know, here's the problem. If we say, oh yeah, don't run an ad in that publication, and you don't, and then 6 months later you decide, well, I might as well try something in here, and of course you do it, and guess what? It's a jackpot. Well, then we're looking back at the opportunity cost over 6 months. So we would never say don't. I'd rather look at every publication as an opportunity and know that there are eyeballs looking at every publication. What would most likely be the best approach to attract of those eyeballs those that are motivated to buy or sell? That's the strategy. Okay, Andrea, let's wrap it up. I really appreciate everybody's questioning, and hope you guys enjoyed. Remember, next Monday's helpline is with Christy Fillion from Success Website. It's going to focus exclusively on the lead generation platform using the website. And the more familiar you are with it, the better. So make sure you don't miss that. And in addition, upload your ads this week. I want to do a great ad clinic session on Friday. The more ads, the better. Thursday, of course, is our role play session. So we'll look forward to that as well. And of course, on the Craig Proctor coaching website is where you'll find the schedule of all the webinars that we do throughout the week. Make sure you're in touch with your coach as well with any questions. Really positive feedback from everybody. It's working very, very well, and we're very pleased at the results that you're getting at these early stages of the program. So that's fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Andrea, thanks so much for your help as well.
Thank you, James. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a wonderful afternoon. We'll talk to you all soon. This officially ends the webinar for today.